In HD, we're going to be talking about the Fast-R Nitro Elite version 3. Got a little bit of a new format for these live streams. So what I want to do is put the subject there, talk about the subject right away. So if anybody is watching this later, but not live, then they know, okay, I came here to hear about the shoe. Let me hear about the shoe instead of the, hey, what's going on, and start talking about to people. After we talk about the shoe, after I talk about the shoe, we can pontificate on it, or we can talk about literally anything else, running related, not running related, Boston, whatever. So let me get into the shoe. I put a short out on the channel yesterday about the shoe. I ran the Boston Marathon in the shoe. I was not a part of Project 3. Okay, that's a Puma initiative where they were giving everybody these shoes to run in training, and they were saying you could take off 3 minutes of your time or something. You got some sort of bonus. I would have got the bonus. Puma would have been paying me cash money because I PR'd by around 5 minutes in the shoe in Boston. So I want to talk about my experience in it, but I have to give you some context because in training, I ran a marathon, an over distance long run in the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite version 3. And then I ran Marine Corp marathon last year in the Puma Fast-R V2. So if you've never run in this shoe and it's not a wildly popular shoe, the first one was known to be a little bit firm and more for 5K. And in fact, spoiler alert, I think that the V3 is still a very aggressive shoe that's more ideal for very fast running, but also very aggressive marathon runners. So the shoe itself, it has the dichotomy of this like heel back here that's very bouncy, but in the forefoot they have the extended plate that's not the most attractive thing, but it's very firm and you get a lot of responsiveness. It's not a very, in my experience, common combination in super shoes. There tend to be bouncy, or there's something that's really aggressive, or they have like one thing going for it. So the Alpha Fly is the example that I used in the short that I made, because that is a shoe that I feel, the Alpha Fly version 1, that has the slightly softer but really trampoline bouncy push to it. And then the forefoot pods are very aggressive. I know Andrea from Doctors of Running doesn't consider this a marathon shoe, or maybe it is a marathon shoe, but she uses it for faster stuff. So because it can be very aggressive as well, right? Well, that's sort of the setup with the shoe. Now, my only drawbacks was it was very heavy. And in the Marine Corps marathon, around 15 miles in, I sidestepped because I felt like I had a rock right here. There's a slight decoupled groove. It does not give you a trampoline effect, but I knew I didn't have a pebble, a very small rock, very church duck. I didn't have a little pebble there, but I stepped off. I took my shoe off and I looked and massaged my toe. That marathon was not going very well anyway. And then I continued to run, still very bouncy and propulsive. Well, in the version 3, compared to that, this shoe is as light, if not lighter, than the Metaspeed series, the Metaspeed Paris. That's the Metaspeed Edge Paris that I was just holding in my hand. It's a very lightweight shoe. On the heel, compared to the 2, there's less. You see it's a big heel, number 2, and then there's less. And they've kind of gone for the Mizuno slide, or, Hoka does that, the Cielo X1, where they trim away a little bit on the heel. You still get with this heel, you still get the bounce. It's still very bouncy. Somebody asked me in the comments, well, what is the foam like? Well, it's like a Puma Super Foam. So if you've run in the Deviate Nitro Elite version 3, if you've run in the Fast-R 2, it's still that same push. But if you've never run in Puma, I would say it's not fair to say Zoom X, because they have a family tree of ZoomX. The ZoomX we don't talk to anymore, the vet side of the family, and then we got the ZoomX. Everybody wants to be the lawyers, the super race day ZoomX. I love the bounce of the Nike Invincible. I would say kind of in that regard, like, or even the Alpha Fly kind of bounce. It has it. Now it's a smaller quantity, but you have the bounce. In the forefoot, in the 2, it was very harsh. In the 3, it's less harsh. I would not say it is a softer landing. It is softer, but I wouldn't say like that's a soft shoe, and the way that soft shoes have been coming out. So I did feel it, like after the marathon, I had DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. I love that we abbreviate that into DOMS, and because it's just so much work to say delayed onset muscle soreness. Quads, glutes, all of it healed faster than the muscles in my feet. So I was still working on the shoe. It's still a lot underfoot for the forefoot. You've got to be a marathoner. I mean, you've got to be going after it, I think, in the shoe, because it's still very aggressive. Now, strangely, I'm a midfoot striker, right? And so when I'm landing more on the front and it started to feel harsh, I landed more like where the heel was almost landing first to give my feet some relief. Subtly, I just feel like my brain was doing that because it was like, oh, okay. But the magic of the shoe, I think, comes in late in the race. First time I stepped in an Alpha Fly, I don't know if you remember where you were when you first stepped into an Alpha Fly version 1. It was an experience for me. I was like, whoa, this thing feels like a cheater shoe. Like this can't be legal. And then I went for a run and I was just like, I can't describe. I'm not going to be able to find the words. It's sensational. And so what I would say is that when I put on the Fast-R 3, it was not as sensational. Now the marketing was like, this is the most efficient shoe you'll ever run in. It's going to be 3.5% more efficient on a treadmill. And I got on a treadmill in the Puma store and I ran on it in jeans, like that guy who ran 2:30s in jeans. I was running 6-minute pace. So I was running 2:40 pace. And it felt good. And immediately I'm familiar with the other shoes I've run in, and I knew that I would like this shoe. But I would say deep into the race, it is more nimble and it is lighter than the Alpha Fly. Because the only thing with the Alpha Fly 1 that I wish was that deep in the race, I could just pick up the pace more. Now there's natural fatigue that's happening anyway, but I wanted something more nimble underfoot. And I made this ridiculous video when I first tried the New Balance SC Elite version 3 called my Alpha Fly Killer. Because I was like, man, this thing is so nimble. The decoupled groove and the trampoline effect works really wonderful for me. I made a bunch of magic jokes. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. It's a great time. But I was wrong. I ran a half marathon in it, and it didn't have that sort of propulsive feel to it, and this shoe does. So late in the race, the shoe had no quit. It was nimble underfoot. I ran at 256.37 in Boston. It was an even split, but it was by effort a negative split because I was picking up the pace. And I even cruised it in at the very end. It was shame on me. I shouldn't have done that. I should have pushed it. I would have liked to have done it. Regrets. But this shoe is plenty capable to do it. So I will say that the shoe is as good as advertised. Now, how it compares, somebody was asking, to the Deviate Nitro Elite version 3. This is more accessible for everyone. I ran a 253.45. Now, it was 4C. Okay, it was 40 degrees. It was flat. It was a nice day, and I'm not counting tangents. So Boston, for context, in the Fast-R Elite version 3, the grade adjusted pace was 5 seconds. There's 2 minutes and 10 seconds off my time plus a minute of tangents. It's like, if it was the same conditions, I would have run faster in the Fast-R Elite version 3 than this shoe. But this shoe is also incredible. This shoe, if I had to redo my top shoes of last year, Super Shoes, this would be on top. So if you are a heel striker, This definitely has more of a heel, and I would recommend this than this. Now, like the Hoka Cielo X1, it definitely had this like phantom heel, the concave heel, but it was still accessible. And I would say that the Fast-R 3 is still accessible. Now, I also listened to Believe in the Run, and they were saying that as they sat at the finish line, many finishers finishing with the shoe had bloody toes. So they're maybe they need to half size up. I don't know. I felt the cramming of the feet in the Fast-R Elite version 2. And it was okay. I got a 9 and a 9.5, and I was really on the fence about it. And I ended up going with the 9. But strangely, the 9.5 had like a softer heel. It was really weird. I had to like, it was strange. Anyway, I did not bleed my own blood. I did not, it did not cut me. It is an amazing shoe. I think it is worth the price, obviously, but this is midfoot friendly. I would be interested with my 4-foot friends. Think comparing it to the ASICS Metaspeed Edge Paris, both light shoes. But this shoe, even though it's got the plate, the low plate position, it seems to be bouncy all over. It's bouncy in the heel. It's bouncy there. It's definitely more accessible for the heel, but it's that wedge shape. Like it's definitely a fast shoe, and it's very light, but it's not as propulsive. In conclusion, I will say the Fast-R 3 reminds me of the Vaporfly 2, but instead of a softer collapsing foam into a toe off, it's more of a bouncy sensation. So I don't know if that cancels out any of the toe off. If you land more heel, I'm not sure on the mechanics how it would work for you, but it is in that sort of aggressive Vaporfly 2, which most people use for a half marathon and under, but the elites like to use it for the marathon. In that same way, this is a very aggressive shoe. So if you're a speedy marathoner, definitely there. Yeah, and Puma did not send it to me. I am not part of Project 3. I bought it with my own money in Boston. I will be using it throughout the year for my races. That being said, now let's get in 12-minute take. Hot take coming in. Some now let's talk. Let's see who's in here. Stevie76. Best sign at the London Marathon. Nobody likes a fast finisher. With a wink. It's great. I think the Boston one, Martha said that she saw one that said my girlfriend's going to finish twice today. Thought that was pretty funny too. David Garcia's in here. Says, congrats on the sub 3, Andrew. How long did it take you to run a sub 3 marathon? I'm not even a year in, but my end goal is to run sub 3. That's a great question, David. So I will try not to go give you the history like we on a winter day in the Ides of March in 1980. I was born, and this is whatever. Like I started running in 2020. I have no running experience. If I had to guess, I would have been about a 4-hour marathoner. I ran a 1:48 half marathon time trial around my neighborhood. But if I had no aerobic base, so when you double that, you needed to probably add 20. I probably needed to add 20 minutes to it. But so I didn't ever put my eyes on 3 until October of 2022, the Chicago Marathon. I ran a 3:11, and I'd been watching a lot of Kafuzi videos on his sub 3 journey. And at the beginning, I didn't think I would ever break 3:45. Or like I didn't know. I thought speed was a fixed mindset. Like the kids in your class, you all ran, and then like there was the fastest guy, the second, third. That never changed through the years. Like so, you were just kind of born. Maybe you get a little faster, but like I didn't know. I didn't understand how it all worked. So I would say it's probably been 2.5 years of that. I was in the ballpark probably for a while, but when you get into that fitness level, any goal that you're going for, I feel like, say you're going for a 3:30 marathon, and you're kind of in that 3:32, 3:35, whatever it is, and you're trying to flirt with 3:30. You need the weather to line up that day. Like in training, you need a flat course. You need things to go right. And so I definitely made some mistakes along the way. But you can definitely do it, David. And if you need any help, hey, I just launched the website finally, strideandshine.com. We do one-on-one coaching. Can't take on a ton of people, but I am already starting to work with some guys, midlifers, mostly fellow midlifers, just starting the journey and getting into it, or they have their eye on the PQ or a sub 3. But it is possible. And I've learned a lot from there. So Alex Dominguez is in there. He says, "Hey there, came in for the running shoe talk and found midlife sub 3 champ. Hey, I got to ring my own bell. I told my wife I want a little bell, and then we're gonna ring it for everybody whenever we do the countdown." So did anybody run London? Probably not, right? Because you have like a 1 in a million chance of getting in. Or Manchester marathon. There's a lot of marathons going on. Max Bernstein's in here, says, "Congrats, midlife." Thank you. We did it. Scary Jones says, "I got a pair of Metaspeed Sky Paris, and they've impressed me so far. My daily runners are Puma Nitro 3s, though. They're great shoes." They are. I haven't tried the Deviate Nitro 3, the trainers, which are great. I got number 2 for $60, and I love that shoe. I think it's incredible. We've got too many shoes to run through, so I won't be getting them anytime soon. The Metaspeed Edge Paris was my overall shoe of the year last year. I did like a marathon race list, and number 1 was the Fast-R 2, and I probably would switch that. Now, as a midfoot striker, I also like the Wave Rebellion Pro 2, and there were shoes in there that I liked, but it was number 5 as a marathon shoe, but I put over 200 miles in it. And I think I'm at like a 5K PB, like a 10K PB. I did a lot of speed work in it. It's a very fast shoe. It's very light. I think there are better options for the marathon for my fitness level, but it's an incredible shoe. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with the next one. So John says, "Chewit Haynes, speaking of the guy who runs in jeans, dude is an animal. For sure. Killer back." But I think that must be the same guy who's got the record for most pull-ups in a single day. Speaking of which, I'm going to take a break and do 5 push-ups. Let's see if I can break the record on the air. No, that's not what they meant by strength work. They didn't mean to do that strength work. So Matt Byers in here, just made it on. We'll catch up on what I missed later on. Well, welcome, Matt. So if anybody has run a marathon in the Nike Rival Fly 4, please let me know. And Matt know how it fared. Andrew Chosen here, he says, "Hey, Andrew, congrats again." Thanks, Andrew. It was quite an experience. I'm not going to run it next year, even though I did qualify again, but I get why everybody, like, Boston is Boston. I mean, so maybe it was my insecurity for the first few years, but every time I would go, like the Chicago Marathon, people wearing Boston jackets, and I'm like, okay, what a flex. You're so fast. And that's like my stuff. They're strangers. I don't even know them. If I have a problem with the stranger, I have a problem with myself. There's something in here that needs some spiritual fixing. That's what I've learned. And it's something that I have to get over. So we're flying out of San Antonio, and there's people with the Boston jackets from previous years that are going and flying out there. And I'm thinking, oh, I wonder how fast they are. And then like someone has the embroidered years. They have all the years they've run it, and they're embroidered. And I'm like, they just go to Boston every year. And to me, like, I had an experience, but so many people want to get in, and I want to let other people experience what I experienced. It is expensive. There are plenty of other marathons that I can run that I think I'll really like, but I get it. Like after experiencing the town in the race and just like it's incredible, right? I have not experienced anything like that in running for 5 years. So I could see why people chase that. And they're like, I want to do that again. I qualified again. I run Boston. If I lived in the area, I'd always run it. If I lived in Chicago or near Chicago, I'd always run the Chicago Marathon. In fact, I'm starting to feel that way about the Houston Marathon. So, all right. Philip Watts says, I just ran some 400 meters intervals in a sunny 80-degree heat. I am astonished how marathon runners can run 3 to 4 hours in the heat. All right, Phil, I may catch some shit for this. I may, but it was warm. It was warm in Boston. It was sneaky warm. And everybody who ran last year is going to take a dump all over me. And they're going to be like, no, you don't even know anything because last year it was much worse. I agree. I see you. I understand. I feel you. Rough day out there. I live in San Antonio. I run in the heat. And all I'm going to say is that 60 degrees is not 40 degrees. It's not. There's going to be a little bit at a time on there. Okay. I was drinking water to feel, and I was drinking a lot of water. I was drinking water at every station because like it's brutal. Philip, did you know? Did you get on McMillan's website? He's got like a weather calculator, and you could put what does this 80-degree heat and the humidity and all of that stuff translate to cooler temps? I don't know how accurate it is, but my 39-minute, 1 second 10K in the July heat, 78 feels like 84. It said it was a 36:08. And I like my ego like that. I like to round up. Can't even fathom running 2 seconds faster, but weather does impact the body. So Flying JR says, thanks for the shoe update. What is your next race? So I'm going to, guys, trigger warning. I'm going to be doing a big Maffetone block. Now, it's an aerobic base building period. That's really what Maffetone method is. Then you can switch to faster running. But I'm going to return to math, do math tests. I'm going to do like 3 months of just easy running. Then I'm going to get into some speed work, and we'll do I want to go faster than I ever have. Matt Byron might get the Nike Rival Fly 4, maybe the Streak Fly 2 or the Adios 9, hit the track, go fast. And then I'm going to switch into the next race is the San Antonio Marathon, but I'm thinking about switching it to a half marathon as a tune-up race for the Houston Marathon. So tentatively speaking, right? As you could tell by my super HD here, I'm not a running influencer. No one flies me to London. No one's flying me to Tokyo. None of that stuff is happening. John says $60 Deviate 2s is an insane deal. Yeah. So that was through a company called Fit to Run, but you can get really good deals on the Subwell app. So if you don't mind buying gently used shoes, which is what I get the majority of all my shoes from for some pretty good deals. So Jose Noveo's in here, says, congrats, nice seeing you. Yes, Jose, nice to finally meet you. It's crazy because you go to I run around my neighborhood mostly. And then when I go to these events, I finally get to put a face to the name. Now Jose, I've seen him, but online, but it's great to meet you guys finally. Andrew Cho says, Fast-R 3, when did you decide it was going to be your race day shoe? When my wife said, you should buy those. And I told her, it's $300. And she was like, so that's all you had to say. That's all she had to say. I was like, okay, permission to do it. So I had some other shoes that have my half marathon PR that are coming out in June or July, and I was going to run in those. It's a tighter fit though, and I was worried about the toe crunching, and so it was on my radar. I did not think when I walked into that Puma shoe, based on the marketing that dropped that Friday and Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that there would be any inventory left. I mean, they're talking about the most efficient shoe of all time, 3.5%, scientifically speaking. This is really good marketing. And I was sad because I was like, I'm not going to be able to run in it because I will not get it. It'll be sold out. I love the Fast-R 2, and the changes they made are right up my alley. This shoe, I would really like it, I think. But alas, I'm not going to get it. So when we walked by, I was like, okay. Now they say, don't try anything new on race day. I did technically take it on the treadmill for a few minutes at threshold, and it was enough to know, like, okay, I'm gonna roll the dice. I ran in the 2 all the way through. Okay. And this one felt a lot better. So I felt confident that it would work out. Alex Dominguez says, I still need more cowbell. I'm not getting enough cowbell in here. I need more cowbell. Jen Piazza, it's not very good. Ooh, no. Walking. It's not very good today. Jen Piazza says, come run the New York City Marathon next year instead. I'd love to. I don't think I ran a fast enough time to qualify. I don't even know when the lottery for all these things are. I saw someone post something about London, so I threw my name in the hat. But again, it's like 1 in 100,000, 800,000 chance of getting in. So I don't know. Stevie76 says, any post-marathon blues? No, not as bad as Houston. Houston was really something else. And, like with Boston, I had so much going on before. And then when I finished, usually they say you get post-marathon blues because your marathon is this goal you're going for. And it's like this unifying purpose, the singular purpose that you have. Then you do it. And then you're like, my purpose is done. I have many purposes per pie. I have a lot. Okay. So I went straight into those other responsibilities, including the run coaching. So this is really what I'm excited about. And then like I carb loaded, guys. I must have put on like 5 pounds. I switched to brown sugar Pop-Tarts instead of bagels. I still did some bagels, but I did a steep taper, but I kept eating pretty hard. And I think I put on some weight. And it was mostly water weight, but I was looking forward to carb deloading. And that's what I've been doing. I did probably 5 days of recovery, lots of protein. It's just eating all the nutrients. Then that's kind of like, okay, now I can transition. The DOMS is shaken off and go more into the lower carb. I have eating less. Don't feel all easy running, nothing there. But yeah, that I had post-marathon digestive blues. My stomach was very sad. X Silly Monkey says, just out of curiosity, if anyone knows if Matt Fox is still okay. I don't know his day-to-day situation or whatever. I mean, we had some communication via Discord because he was still writing the training for me for the lead up to Boston all the way to the end. So, I hope he's okay. I told him we were going to be taking a break from Boston from like 6 months ago. Like, hey, we'll work to Boston. Then I don't need a coach to run easy every day for like 3 months. I mean, I've got it from here. It's going to be really boring. I'm going to shoot a lot of running content. I don't know. I'm thinking towards that back half of last year, I felt like I was just trying to hit a quota or not quota, but like YouTube quits putting your stuff out if you stop making stuff. So I'd always try to do like 1 a week, and then I would run out of time and I would just turn the camera on and I'm like, hey, this is the shoe that I've been running in and these are my thoughts on it. Here you go. Okay, thanks. Right. But it's not very inspired. And the whole reason that I like telling stories and want to do stuff is because I'm here for the inspiration. I'm here, not the slow-mo Floberg running inspo, right? I don't have the time or the equipment to make that happen. If I had more passion for it, then I would. But I want to shoot content that has a little bit more. It takes a little bit more time. Maybe the video comes out once every month or so, right? Could still do the live stream supplement because it's just an hour of my day if I'm free. And then we could just talk about whatever it is. But I don't know if I'm going to try to keep up with the same rate of pace for the other shoes, especially because I started biting off more than I could chew. I got some Chinese shoes I was never able to run into. run enough in to give like a full review, and they're like, "Hey, what's up? Are you gonna put out that content?" I'm like, "Hold on, I got Boston recap, I got the Boston video, then the Boston recap, then I got to talk about the shoe, then I got to talk about that," and I'm like, "Okay, can I just buy them from you? I'll still make a video and talk about them, But so Stevie 76 with the super chat, sub 3 beers. Stevie, finally happened. There were a lot of people in Boston that they put their name there. And so after I finished the race, I walked back to my hotel. It's in Brooklyn. It was a couple miles away, but I like walking a lot after the marathon to get the blood flow going. And then I was like, who's still running? That I'm tracking. Like Martha was still running and Aubrey was still running. So I went off to like mile 24 or 25 and just started cheering for people. Crowds are crazy. Crowds are so contagious. I had to become part of the crowds. I love it there. It's really incredible. Like 5 colleges, a lot of young people, windows are open. It's a big celebration. People out on the rooftops, grilling. It is incredible. The experience is incredible. And I forgot what I was going to say. I just blanked. So we'll just keep going, and then I'm going to remember. It's going to come back to me. Sam Ives is in here. What's up, Sam? Congrats on your Boston run, representing the 45 to 49-year-olds. Good to build back up if you want to keep working your time down. DPASY. I don't understand that one. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sam. Yeah, I qualified by running a 3:02 when I was 43, but a year and a half later, I was strangely 45. So that's good. We got to maximize that. Got to play strong. I think in the 45 to 49 category, I was just under the top 10% there too. So, and I said it earlier, and I put it in the recap video. I guess because I failed to run sub 3 the last few times, I had it. I knew I had it. So I didn't want to push it in the last 5 miles. I would say the last 3 miles, because I ran a 6:23, 6:30 something. And I was like, okay, 3 miles to go. Even at 7 minutes, it's close to a 2:56, whatever. I'm good. I can make it sub 3. I wasn't thinking like, hey, if I push right now, I could get under 2:55. That would have qualified me for Berlin, but I wasn't thinking like that. And so, I wish I would have pushed it. I wouldn't have changed my pace because I had more in the tank. So let's see. Rich P, congrats on Boston. What's the next goal? Next goal is going to be to get faster. That's always the goal. And I think Steve Magnus said, you can't really tell the fitness fitness comes when it comes. Right. So to clarify on all this easy running, this aerobic base building period, I'm running more mileage than I ever have before. So I'm creating a progressive overload, a stimulus, an aerobic stimulus that I've done. So I'm going to start trying to do 90 to 100 mile weeks. 100 mile, that's the sexy number in running, right? I'm trying to run 100-mile weeks. Can handle the workload because I'm not running fast. My experience with the Maffetone method in doing a bunch of easy running is I got a lot faster. Then I'm going to go straight for that speed and provide a new stimulus for the body. And we're going to see what happens. And then I'm going to go like really fast, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 60 seconds, 50 meters, 75, just sprints, like little block, and then just get it longer, 200s, 400s, bring the intervals, do some 5K work, run a 5K, run a 10K work, and then work our way to the marathon, Houston Marathon, Rich P. I'm going to say it. Okay, well, I'm going to have to switch the SATX to a half marathon. So maybe we'll hopefully PR that one as well. So Silly Monkey says, between the Metaspeed or the Fast-R 3, which one would you say is better? I think that the Fast-R V3 is better. This is, I don't like, if we're going record and be like the best shoe I've ever run in, right? Because it sets a bar. Like, when you run in it, a lot of people will run in it. They're like, well, yeah, it's it's up there. It's a super shoe. It's really good, but it's not sort of mind blowing. I just step into it and I feel like I'm about to get 3.5% more efficient in it. You know, I would say like late in the race, it really worked. The Metaspeed Edge Paris, after 10 miles straight of marathon pace, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'm talented enough to run in this and keep my form all the way through. And if I fall off my form, you know, I mean, it's narrow here, you know, and I'd be okay. I would be okay. I would be fine in that shoe. I like the shoe a lot. It was my favorite shoe last year. I just think that I get I get the marathon versatility from the Fast-R 3. But they would both be magical at shorter paces. Rich P says, LOL. Chinese shoes will probably be more expensive soon, like $700. Yeah, the resale value on those are going to be pretty sick. So I got the, I think it was the X Step 260 2.0. And it really was like a, I should have it with me. I'll make a short on it. So I'm going to start doing shorts as well, because it's like we're going to talk about like this shoe for 8 minutes. I'll tell you the highlights. I'll tell you what you need to know. I bet if I talk fast enough, I could get this done in like 2 to 3 minutes, and then call it a day. So this shoe, that's a training shoe, and it feels like a great training companion to the Saucony Endorphin Elite version 1. It kind of has that firmer feel, this sort of roll through that you get from that same shoe, but not as efficient and not as good. So you hopefully aren't paying that kind of price. And I watched a Ioana video, and he was raising the question on the Zoom Fly 6 similarly. Why does this exist if, you know, because so many of us will run in last year's super shoes on discount that you can get kind of for the same price. And do really like a tempo shoe like the Zoom Fly 6, you should really only take out for tempos. For me, it's like, okay, at everyday paces. Evo SL, God, I get YouTube's so funny. They just take some videos and they'll launch it out there just randomly. Okay, this one's getting 60,000 views, and that brings in a bunch of people that don't normally watch the channel, and they call me buddy or guy. Buddy here. This is a try hard. This is BS or whatever. And I think it's comical, right? It's the greatest shoe in the market. And I'm like, I like the shoe. I like the Evo SL. I really like the shoe. Most fun shoe for $150. It's one note. It's one note. It's one note. You can. I suffered through 8 miles yesterday in it. Easy. And at those paces, I was like, man, it's so hard not to pull over at my house and throw on the Neo Zen, the On Cloud Eclipse. Like, I just started thinking of all the shoes I would rather run easy in than the Evo SL. You can. Okay. And I've run threshold workouts in the Evo SL. It's a good shoe. It's good. And I would think about all the shoes that I would rather be running in than that shoe. But that high-end, easy, steezy, gray zone, chef's kiss. Love it. Got about 70-something miles in it. We'll get it to 100. We'll do a review. I'll still say it's one note, and the internet will shit on me. That's the way it's going to go, as far as that goes. But I don't know how we got there. I don't even know what we were talking about. Didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night. All right, James is in here. What's up, James? So happy for you, Andrew. Absolutely a clinical performance. I'll be back from that disaster. Yes, James, you will. James was the first to welcome me to the Sub 3 Club. I asked him, like, do we get a jacket? Do I get a jacket? Do I retire? Just like mic drop, middle-aged guy, hits a Sub 3. Now I'm going to go do something else, performative dance. You never know. Let's open up that. What's up, Luis? He says, hello, everyone. Maybe I'll get back into film for Luis, and I'll make a bunch of comedies. Oh my God. Luis, I'm just going to send you. I don't know if you've seen Supernatural Activity. I found a DVD. I'm going to just send. I don't know if DVD players even exist anymore. I'll send you that. Maybe Stevie's 76 is going to want to see that too, though. So, speaking of which, Stevie says midlife and Floberg docudrama collab. I could see it. I could see it. I'm going to need a fake mustache though to match his. I can't really do facial hair. And I'm here for the slow-mo. Dude's fast though. So I don't know. Alex Dominguez says, are you going to focus on heart rate for your aerobic base build? Yes, Alex, I am. So Maffetone 180 minus 40, you can add 5 beats if you've been running 2 years without injury. Common mistake is that beginners are like, I'm fit. I know I haven't been doing it for 2 years, but like I'm going to add 5 beats because you want a better time at that heart rate. You want a faster time. Don't add 5 beats. You shouldn't add 5 beats. When I started the Maffetone method, I was 40 years old. So I ran at 140. I just turned 45. Now I would be 135, but I add 5, this could be like 140. So mostly yes, especially for the math tests, because it doesn't really matter. I'm just running easy. So we're all good. It's okay. The humidity is going to be like, okay, I'm going to do a math test. Maybe this, which is a 5-mile test. Take your average pace for those 5 miles at that heart rate. And then you just do that every month and see how far you progress. So I'm going to do that, but I'm adapting to the humidity. It usually takes me like 3 or 4 weeks before I adapt to the humidity. And then I just make a jump. So if I do a second math test, I'll be much faster. Right now, it might be 8:15, and then it might be 7:35, 7:40 in a month. Not because I got that much faster. It's just my body got adapted to the heat and the humidity. So, but I'm not going to be, well, a lot of days I'm not going to be too married to it. I should be in a good zone, right? Kubang's in here says, yo, my bro. What's up, Kubang? How you doing, man? Little bell for the 5K PB. Silly Monkey says, subscribe and like the stream. Here for it. Be here for it. Thanks. Luis Becerra says, nice. Lance says, good to be able to make it to a live for once. Congrats on the sub-3, man. Phenomenal. Regarding the Evo SL, I tried it on at Dick's, and it felt soft enough for easy pace. Did it feel firm to you? Well, thanks for making it in, Lance. I hope you make it to Texas soon. The shoe is soft. It does not feel firm, but the aggressive nature of the rocker makes me feel like I want to go faster. So even when I'm running easy, it still has this like uncomfortable little push where it's like, whoa, hold on, bro. Like I don't want to pick up the pace, right? I don't want to go fast. And I have to be aware and focused on how I'm running. And like when I run on the on-cloud Eclipse, this little Tonka trunk, this little tank, man, I just roll through this thing and bounce along. I never think about this shoe. This is a beautifully, completely forgettable shoe. I probably have 60 or 70 miles on it. It replaced my Nova Blast. It's that daily trainer that I just walk around all the time. So it only has 70 miles, but I probably really put like 300 miles on it by now. So, all right. Akipen Senpei says pickleball maybe? Yeah. You know what? Maybe instead of performative dance, I'll do pickleball because Mizuno sponsors people who do pickleball, and Mizuno's the only one who cares about me, the running industry, and they send me shoes. Thank you, Mizuno. I don't know. I'm pretty good at ping pong. I know pickleball really, it's a larger game, but I'm a short king. I can move around. We'll see. I don't know. Luis Becerra said, cool, I saw The Walking Deceased. I'm sorry, Luis. Did you suffer through that? I was starting to write that, and then with my buddy Tim, and then I didn't have time to do it anymore. And I was like, hey, you do it, and then you just write whatever, and I'll come back and be the bow and arrow guy. And so he played Green Bay, or he was one of the two main guys in it. So Supernatural Activities, I think, funnier, but I wrote it, so of course I'm going to think that. Stevie76 says, just got a notification from Adidas app to enter a draw to purchase the Pro Evo 2. You know who's going to be on that list? Not this guy. I'm torn. I don't think I would ever run. I'm going to go on the record, guys. I'm never going to run in the Pro Evo 1 or 2. I'm not, even if they sent it to me, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to step into that privilege. I'm just not going to. I'm against $500 shoes. That's it. I don't, it's like twice the price of a super shoe, but not twice the benefits. I get it. I get why it exists, but it does not exist for people like me. I don't like that. And I'm not going to run in it and be like, yeah, guys, actually, you should get these things. Like, not my style. Andre Mello's in here. What's up? Andre says, what's up? We've got our intro consultation tomorrow. Looking forward to meeting you. Yes, I caught some miles with Andre. When was that? When I was coming back from overtraining, I was in the hood, so he's looking to join the Stride and Shine. It's never too late for greatness, but he's a young buck, so we're just going to focus on the toxic positivity. So we're going to do all things. Kuvang says, thank you for the bell. Looking forward to the bell after this Sunday. May the 4th be with you, Kuvang. So big race. What races do you guys got lined up coming up? I know the All Heart gang is getting ready to tackle the OC marathon. That was like, low key, that's going to be my backup if I blow up in Boston. I'm like, no, come on now. The brain is silly. It's so funny like that. It's like, I'm going to be fine. But I don't want to think about a marathon for quite some time. So, or carbs, mostly carbs. I think it's the carbs for me. Luis says, if you can get them for free, the Evo Pro 2s, can you ask for a size 11? Yeah, I can. No, I'm going to go ahead and be principled all the way through, Luis. I know it's a pain. It sucks. Kids hate it sometimes. Like, just lie, Dad. It's not how we roll around here. All Heart RC says, MK says, you are All Heart, Andrew. Oh, thank you. John says, I'm running Lincoln, Nebraska marathon this Sunday. Now that has to be flat, right? The whole Midwest is flat. It has to be. Am I right? Does that have a lot of support? You get to see a red out there? Man, I went to the Omaha Film Festival in 2012. We with a movie called A Schizophrenic Love Story. That one's a banger. I like that one. That one was fun. That one was a good time. Boy, girl, schizophrenic person, young. His 3 delusions are Mary, Mother, Jesus, Einstein, and Johnny Depp. It's a vampire. It was originally Johnny Depp. We couldn't get Johnny Depp to do it naturally. So it's a vampire. And his neighbor shows up with Froyo, and she doesn't know if she's real or not. So he has to consult his delusions. And then it's like the last people he should be consulting to see if she's real or not. But it had a lot of heart, and it was fun, and it didn't have a lot of locations. And we shot it, and we went to Florida, went to Omaha, San Antonio, and Omaha Film Festival, sneaky good. And when I was watching some shorts, they have like a short division, and it's like the Dame Judi Dench and all these big actors were in these shorts. And I was like, it's not fair. Come on. What's in the box? Lance says, noted, and I hope to get to Texas soon too, putting in apps like it's an Evo Pro 2 drawing submission. Yeah. Now, cost of living is rather affordable in San Antonio. It is not as affordable in Boston. I looked around in Boston. I was like, wow. Places we'll be not moving to. Boston. I get it. It's cool, but also very expensive. Jen Piazza's in here. She says, I'm running the Copenhagen Marathon on May 11th. I leave next Wednesday. Awesome, Jen. How are you feeling? See, you're stepping into some taper crazies. So you gotta trust the process. I'm not gonna say it with the barn. Silly Monkey says, I agree with the EVA 1 and 2 take. Or because I know I will just waste this shoe. Yeah, a lot of pressure to perform whenever you wear a shoe like that. But also, it's kind of like, it just feels like a lot of marketing where at least the Puma shoe, the Fast-R 3 was like, oh, and by the way, scientifically proven, we've done studies. And we're going to put our money where our mouth is, and we're going to pay out for people who PR in the shoe, which is really cool. So John says it's pretty flat, 520 feet of gain. Yeah, that's medium gain, medium gain. Like I'm around. Also went to like 230. Eric Paramount's in here. What's up, Eric? Goes, hey, congrats midlife on the sub 3 at Baston. Yeah, parked it car in the harbor. I did hear some of those accents. I did. I went into a CVS. And the woman was telling the guy, put the cord in. He's like, I put it in. Like he was talking with his Boston accent. He was giving her some grief, and it was great. I was like, oh, Boston. I think I tried to do a Boston accent at work the other day with matcha, and I was like, matcha, and I was like, no, that's straight Dakota. That's Wisconsin. Big. You want some matcha? Oh yeah, don't you know? In the bag. Put it in the bag. Stevie76 says, other than Stride and Shine, what other names didn't make the cut? I had help on that one. I use AI. I do. I'm not ashamed to admit it. AI, run this mile for me. Boom. That's how I got the sub 3 in Boston. All right. Andrew Cho says, I am running the Potomac River Marathon this Saturday. Not as ready as I would like, dealing with some ITB issues. Are those phantom or are those real, Andrew? Good luck on the marathon. Good luck, Jen Piazza. Good luck, everybody who's running their marathons. Chris Mintel's in here, legend. He says, finally made it live. Hey, welcome in, man. Good. Glad you made it. Kuvang says, oh, taper crazies. Get random aches and niggles suddenly out of nowhere. Feel good. And then moments of doubts. Yeah. I was convinced. We did the live stream and it was taper sanies. And then immediately after, I felt my runner's knee. I took those 2 extra days off. And I don't know if that saved me because I had the legs for later in the race in Boston, or like aerobically I lost a little fitness because I had 2 30-mile weeks. Didn't need to take that much of a dip on it. But I played it safe because I was like, I just need to make it to the line. If I just make it to the line, I'll be okay and I'll start running. Everything will be fine. And it was. It was wonderful. But there were people who were like, in the comments, it wasn't that hot. I grew up, I live in Boston. I mean, it was okay. Okay, 60 is not 40. It's not 40. It's not 40. It's just, there's a difference. It's roughly 20 degrees. If you need me to do any more math, I'll have to ask my wife. She majored in math. I was an English major. Eric says, wicked hard. You parked it? Where'd you park it? In the harbor. You parked it in the harbor? Jen Piazza says, no taper crazies while I recover from Boston. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Stacking them. Stacking bricks. Stacking marathons. It's no big deal. Yeah. I'm excited to not stack marathons for a little bit. So Kuvang says that Wisconsin accent's on point from there originally and deep. Scotty's definitely, don't you know, in big. I know a guy, Jordan Hagen, he'd say big. And I have some family in-laws in Kenosha. I've never been up there. I've just talked to him. So Liv Young's in here. What's up? For marathon weather, 60s pretty warm. Yeah, I know that I run every morning in 70-degree weather. I'm not asked to run a marathon in this weather. I've run marathons in 50-degree weather and 55. I run in 40, perfectly chilled, 40-degree weather. The Austin International half was 28 with the wind chill down to like 11 all day. Just a little hand warmer, some gloves. Bring it on. I'm here for it. How are your legs after Boston? Surprisingly, I've had worse. I think half marathons on hilly downhill courses like the Austin International, maybe it's the velocity. They rip them up a little more. Don't get me wrong. I was out for a good 4 or 5 days, like just taking in all the protein. And then it wasn't the quads and it wasn't the glutes. I feel like I trained really well. It was all the little muscles like shin, those two peroneal tendonitis, all those things on the sides, like the balancing where you on your landing, and then the toes. So, and now we are 100% okay. Stevie76 is I like Madonna's British accent. Cheat code: if you put your hand in front of you and you talk to it, then you will have a British accent. That's what someone said, and I was like, oh really? Oh okay. Oh really? Wow. Why does that work? I don't know. Liv Young says, hindsight, which leg muscles do you think you should have exercised more? You know what? I don't think that muscles were an issue at all. I think that I ran a slightly conservative race and I could have pushed it. I did. I would run in training 6 miles up on the greenway. And then, it's like rolling and then you get up all the way to the top. It's probably like 300-400 feet of gain. And then I would go 6 miles down, 1 mile float, 6 miles down at marathon pace in the Hoka Cielo X1 OGs. And very protective. And the first time I did that, my quads were kind of blown up. I did some front squats here and there. I did, some reverse elevated lunges or whatever, deficit lunges. I did some things, but it wasn't really too big on the strength. I was really like just from the running, because I did that same workout maybe 3 or 4 weeks later. I was less sore, and 3 weeks from the marathon, I did 18 miles, and it was 800 feet of gain, or 860, very close to Boston, and it was all in rollers, and I kept a steady effort, and that's kind of what I felt like. It was like it's nonstop. So I felt strong through it, and if I played it cautious because I've never run it before. And if I run Boston again, which I'm not going to next year, I would be a touch more aggressive in the beginning and see if I can still hold it later in the race, because I had a lot more to give. So Morpheus is in here. He says, hey, I was the Irish guy that chatted to you off the bus. Congrats on the sub 3. Awesome. Thanks, man. How did you do? I do remember you, man. I was like, I should have asked him about Steven Scullion. He's like, hey, you chill. Are you bros with Sir Scullion? How'd you run, man? Lance says, God damn it, Janine. I put the quarter in the meter. Hold my hot dog while I find another quarter. Orpheus says, I'm ready for another merit. Can't wait to. Frank's in here. What's up, Frank? I'm thinking, Frank, every time you drop in, we ought to do like a book chat. Like we ought to do, because I put something in the Kafuzi live stream about I can't, my brain is just not working right now. The movie with Matt Damon where they try to get him from Mars. Project Hail Mary is the other book that guy wrote. And I asked about it, and then like 4 or 5 people commented. I'm like, oh, we got a bunch of readers in here. Why don't we just have a little book club, a little section for a book club here? We could talk about it. Because in that movie, The Martian, there it is. The movie with The Martian, my wife is saying, oh, check this out. She read me some clips. And I'm like, that guy sounds funny. The character sounds funny, witty. Matt Damon's not funny. He can't carry that. that's really odd. That like that should have gone to Ant-Man. You know, it should have gone. There's so many actors who could have probably done that a little bit better. I think Ryan Reynolds would have been too much, but it's just kind of like, oh wow, I wanna read that book. She's like, yeah, Project Hail Mary is getting a lot of buzz too. So anyway, Frank says, did missing 255 keep you hungry though? Yes, Frank, I'm hungry to get faster. I was like, even though I set out to PR, in training they were around the 620s, and on that cool crisp day where in training where I ran the 253.45, I never once felt really uncomfortable. I didn't have to dig, and if the marathon would have been on a flat course like a Chicago on that day and that cool, I could have probably pushed myself to a sub 250, I think. So that's a general goal I think I'm going to work towards. Um, Liviang says, stabilize your muscles. I see. Good to know. Thanks. We'll need to add some foot strengthening. Yeah, I get the banded workouts. I put like a band in my, like around the staircase, and I put my foot in it, and then I just wiggle in and wiggle out on both of those. I did that because when I first started running, I got 2 bouts of shin splints, and you just waiting and icing didn't feel like it was enough, and that kind of helped. Kenny Gallagher's in here. Kenny G in the house eating some chicken. Good chat this week on Strava, Andrew. We shall triumph Houston 2026. Absolutely, Kenny. He's in New Braunfels. New Braunfels is like it's basically San Antonio, like 15 minutes up. So he understands the suffering of the humidity, and I guess it applies to Houston and Austin, and it's one notch below any coastal city in the South. If you live in Florida and you're in a coastal city, it's worse. If you live in Corpus Christi, it's much worse. In fact, if I lived in Corpus Christi, I would not be a runner, or I would have a treadmill for sure. So Morpheus says I did 306, not a PB, but I'm happy. That's awesome, man. Yeah, it was good. It was good times. Was that your first Boston? Eric Paramount says Deadpool on Mars would be hilarious. Something. Yeah, there was a movie I saw with Sam Rockwell. It might have just been called Moon, but it was him on the moon by himself. Good movie. I like sci-fi. I really like space movies. You always get me on a sci-fi or a space movie. Yeah, Solaris doesn't matter if it's artsy. Doesn't matter if it's well executed. Doesn't matter if every studio is doing it. Oh, we need a space movie. Let's do Gravity. The rule that they have for those movies is this. If you put somebody up there, do we want them to come home, right? How affable is the actor? That's why they put George Clooney and Sandra Bullock up there, because they're the most likable people, generally speaking. We're rooting for them to come home. Tom Hanks, Apollo 13. Right, Kevin Bacon, yeah, I mean, we kind of wanted him to come back, but I mean, definitely Tom Hanks. We definitely need Tom to come back. And so I did this game 15 years ago, 16 years ago, working in a bookshop. We did this test where we would name actors, and we're like, do they have it? The guy from Avatar. I'm like, Mars can keep him. You know what I mean? Like if he gets lost in space, what are we missing? Matt Damon, Christian Bale, a great actor. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't come back. He doesn't come back. You know what I mean? Like, with some actors, I really like. We got to get Paul Giamatti. You put Paul Giamatti out there, it's like we got to get Paul back. So anyway, that's the test, and I hope that if I was ever on Mars, you guys would want me to come back. All right, we'll do like maybe one more. Let's see. Frank says, I don't know who they have in the lead for Project Hail Mary movie coming up. Yeah, I got to look into that. Still waiting for Spaceballs 2. Are they doing Spaceballs 2? Oh, that would be wonderful. I love parodies, obviously, because I made them. And then they don't have to be good. In fact, the worse they are, sometimes the better. I don't know. Naked Guns were my favorite. Hot Shots a close second. But Mel Brooks is awesome. Eric Paramount says Sideways in Space, Merlot's Revenge. Man, you know what? I think we'll probably have to end this, because another game that me and my buddies would play completely bored is we would come up with fake sequels to like a series that's already available, like around, right? So like the movie Step Up, where they do all the dancing, And it was like, at the time, there was 2 of them, so it would be like step up 3, the ladder. You know, it just stuff like that where you just like add the punchline to, you know, up, 2, down, whatever, like stupid stuff. We came up with some pretty fun ones. And then another group chat. I can't say it. All right, we're gonna have to end it here. Titanic 2, Jack's Revenge, says TV76. Yeah. The Titanic 2, The Rise, you know. I don't know. All right. Thanks for popping in here on this Wednesday. We'll aim to do it every Wednesday. We'll see as I take more time to make some videos. So I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to stop in and say hi. So it was good to see all you guys.